Hi guys, Manny from Gourmet Takeaway. Here we're gonna show you our gardening video part 4 as you requested. But first, if you like, we'd like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like, and join us on Facebook and maybe Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever you like. Okay, let's do this. First, let me show you what we do before we start planting our garden. What we have to do is we have to make a plan of the garden. So as you can see here, this is our garden plan, and as you can see here, we have a smaller garden on the right hand side, and lower left we have a smaller garden, and the big garden is in front of us. So the reason we do that is to make sure that we don't plant the same vegetable in the same location every year. So it will be very well advised to plant the vegetables in different location every year, and they grow healthier and they don't get as much diseases. Okay, so that's how the first thing we do is make a plan, and of course we write everything on each bed. Whatever we plant, we write it down, and that will help us for next year how to rotate our crop. Okay. Today is May 1st, and as you remember, we took our cold crop from our greenhouses, and we tried to acclimate them, and we put them in the shade first, and then we introduce them to the elements, as you can see here. We don't do it at the same, like immediately. What we do is when we take it from the greenhouse, we put it in the shade for about a couple of days, and then we introduce them to the element like about couple of hours a day for a couple of days, and then we introduce them fully to the elements. And here, as you can see, we start to plant our cold crop, and let's go and see what we did already. Here, as you can see, we start planting our cold crop, and we prepared the beds for the rest of the crop in this little garden here. Plus we have, of course, the big garden up there. So what we do is we line the garden. So the planting bed is like 2 feet wide, and the same thing with the passage here is 2 feet wide. So that'll be easy for us to access our vegetable. And here we are at our warm weather vegetable. We're looking here at butternut squash, and we got some basil here and some dill, and we have other vegetables. As you remember, we planted these on April 20th, so they have been here in this greenhouse for about a couple of weeks now. As you can see here, this is our tomatoes. So what we have to do is these tomatoes, we have to transplant them to bigger cells, and then we keep them in the greenhouse for another 10 days. Okay, here's our beautiful, healthy tomato plants that we have them in our greenhouses, and as you can see now, they became nice and tall. So now we have to transplant them to bigger pots. Okay, so we're starting to transplant our tomato, as you can see, to bigger pots like that. Okay, I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so first we take an empty pot. We add a little bit of potting soil. We take a plant, and you can see here we put it right in the middle, and then we add more soil to it like that, and then we press it down. Okay, and that's it. That's how we do it. Okay, little soil, and we take a plant like that, put it in the middle like that, and then we add soil all over like that, and then what I do is I press it down to stabilize it, all right, like this, and then I tap it a little to loosen the soil, and voila. Okay, here we are. We finished transplanting our tomatoes here to bigger cells, as you can see here, and we watered them, and now we will return them to our greenhouse, and they'll stay here, as I said, for another 10 days before we introduce them to the elements outside. Okay, so this is the warm, hot weather veggies that we planted, if you remember, on April 20th, and here they are growing nicely. These are like squashes, summer squash, winter squash, cucumbers, and here is our tomato. We just transplanted to bigger pots, and we transplant all our vegetables the same way we did our tomatoes. Okay, let's go outside and show you what we have been doing with our cool crop vegetables in the garden. Okay, we're gonna be planting our parsley here, and this our beds here, and I will show you how we prepare our beds. See here what we do. We line the beds. As I mentioned before, it's like 2 feet bed with 2 feet passage, so we can reach our vegetables. Okay, let me show you how I do it. Okay, what I do is I push the soil here to the line to make a bed. Okay, like that. Okay, and I do it on the other side too. So we push the soil to the line, and this way how we form our beds. Okay, and next what I do is I level my bed like that. Okay, all right, so after I level my bed like that, okay, and now I have this rake here. It's this rake is 2 feet wide. What I do is I level my bed to be 2 feet. So what I do is I just drag this on like that. So now my bed is exactly 2 feet. Okay, Okay, and here is our second bed we're doing here. Here we are. And here it is, 2 feet wide, okay? Okay, so after I level my bed into 2 feet, so now I have to loosen the soil so it'll be easier for me to plant my vegetables. Okay, so we do this all over there and then we make sure it's leveled off. Okay, so we continue doing the bed and then we'll show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so after we level our bed and our passages here, now we're gonna start planting our vegetables. Okay, after I level my beds, now I have to make a furrow here where I'm gonna plant my parsley. I'm gonna make 2 furrows in this bed for the parsley. Okay, and this is my second row here. Okay, now what I do, I take the plant, parsley in our case, and space them on my row here. It depends on the vegetable, the spacing. Here we're going maybe about 10 inches apart. Okay, so now what I do is I make a little hole like this and I put my plant, then I cover it with soil and plant it. See, that's the reason you loosen the soil, so it'll be easy for you to plant your vegetables, see, like that. Okay, I'll show you right here. You're gonna go the other side. Okay, the same here. You know, you hold your vegetable up and you do it like that, here we are. Okay, and we continue doing this with all our plant, and that's how we plant our veggies. Okay, here we are. We finished planting our parsley, as you can see here, and we do all our vegetable the same way. Like here, we have a bed of spinach. As you can see here, we have 3 lines here, about 6 inches apart. So it depends on the vegetable, and so we do all the cool vegetable, our greenhouse vegetables, pretty much the same way. Okay, here we are. As I mentioned before, we started planting our cold crop the beginning of May, and today is May 12th. As you can see here, our cold crop product are growing nicely. Here we have our kale, and here we have our Swiss chard, and here we have our parsley beds. As you can see, I have 2 beds of parsley because we like parsley, because we make a lot of tabbouleh. And here is our Lebanese mint bed. As you can see, growing beautifully and extremely healthy. And here we have our radishes, our spinach, and our scallions here. So all the cold crop vegetables are doing pretty good after a week or so. as you can see here. And here we have our peas here. We do have different varieties of peas. We grow a lot of peas because we like it, and we freeze it for the winter as well. So we planted these, like in the third week of April, and that's how they look like today. As you can see here, they're very nice and healthy. And here, as you see with our peas, I like to put a trellis along the bed here, so it will be for me. It will be easier for me to harvest, and the peas plants will be clean. But you don't have to do that like we do have here. So we have this bed here with no fence on it, and of course the farmers all over, they don't use fences, they just plant them the way you see it here. And for trellises, you could use whatever you have at hand. Like here we use wires with some iron rods, but you can use wood. And for the trellis, you could use anything you have available at your home. It doesn't have to be fancy. And of course, when you plant your vegetable, it doesn't matter if it's cold or hot, you have to keep an eye on it and make sure it's watered when it's needed. And of course, you have to feed it. What we do here, we use organic food, and you can find this at your garden center. And we use compost, and we used organic cow manure as well to feed our garden. And you have to keep an eye on it, and you have to water it, and you have to cultivate it, make sure the roots get some air, and make sure the weed doesn't invade and take over. Okay? And if you want to know what kind of cold crop vegetable we grow here, you can check our previous video. We already did 3 videos for you, and that will give you a good idea what kind of vegetable we start in our greenhouses and we plant in our gardens. And now what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be preparing the garden for our warm and hot weather vegetables, which, as you can see, they take the bigger part of the garden. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and was informative. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna be taking care of our hot and warm vegetables. They are in the greenhouse. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them out and acclimate them to the weather as we did with our cold crop. You could have a lot of information if you watch our 3 previous video. Will give you a good idea about gardening and at least the way I do it. And I will do another video maybe about our hot and warm crops when we plant them. And for now, you take care. And if you like, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us on Facebook. Okay, bye for now.